You're watching Trading Rebels, the space where traders come to kill chaos and rebuild structure. And today, I need you to listen closely, because this might be the most important message you've ever heard about trading psychology. You've probably heard of Mark Douglas's Trading in the Zone. Maybe you've read it, maybe you've skimmed through it, or maybe you've just heard traders talk about it like it's some magical book. But here's the truth. Most traders who talk about it don't actually understand it. They repeat the words, they quote the famous lines, but they never translate the secret lesson Douglas left behind. That's why they're still inconsistent. That's why they still trade like gamblers. That's why they're still stuck in the same cycle of wins followed by chaos. So today, I'm going to reveal the one secret lesson from trading in the zone that almost everyone misses. And when you see it, it will reframe the way you think about every single trade you take. But before I open this up, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had those moments where you knew your setup, you saw your plan, you pressed buy or sell, and then suddenly your mind started racing? You started thinking about what if it fails? What if it wins? What if I close too early? What if I lose this money? What if I miss the next move? And in those moments, your plan collapsed. That voice of fear, doubt, or greed destroyed what you thought was structure. And then after the trade ended, whether it was a win or a loss, you told yourself, I need to control my emotions. You thought psychology meant controlling your emotions. But here's the problem. That's not what Douglas was teaching. Mark Douglas wasn't telling you to control your emotions. He was teaching you something far deeper. He was teaching you that consistency doesn't come from controlling emotion. It comes from removing the illusion that you can know what happens next. Read that again. The illusion that you can know. That's the secret traders keep missing. Douglas built his philosophy around probabilities. He said the market is a random distribution of wins and losses. That means you don't know which trade will win and which will lose. And the sooner you accept that, the freer you become. Because your chaos doesn't come from the market, it comes from your resistance to uncertainty. Think about it. Every time you demand certainty, you trade with fear. Every time you demand guarantees, you hesitate. Every time you expect the market to obey your analysis, you panic when it doesn't. Your chaos isn't emotion by itself. It's your mind's rebellion against randomness. That's what destroys consistency. And here's the brutal truth. As long as you fight randomness, you'll never be consistent. So what was Douglas's real lesson? It's this. Stop trying to predict the outcome of each individual trade and start trusting the structure of your edge across a series of trades. That's the real zone. The zone is not about feeling calm, not about being zen, not about being fearless. The zone is the state where you've accepted uncertainty so deeply that one trade no longer matters. You know the next 20 trades will express your edge, so this single trade is just one data point in the series. That's when fear dies. That's when greed loses its grip. That's when hesitation disappears. Because you're not attached to one trade, you're attached to the process. But most traders never reach that state. Why? Because they keep demanding that this trade be the one that proves them right. They attach their identity, their self-worth, their hope, and their desperation to one random outcome. And when it loses, they collapse. When it wins, they get high and then crash. That cycle is not psychology. It's addiction. And Douglas was trying to free you from that addiction. Let me make it plain. The market is a slot machine with probabilities. You don't know if the next pull is a win or a loss, but if the probabilities are in your favor, over time you profit. But here's the difference. You're not here to gamble. You're here to design the slot machine. That's your edge. And once you have an edge, your job is not to predict. It's to execute. The zone is the mental state where you stop reacting to the randomness of one outcome and trust the certainty of your edge over many outcomes. That's the freedom Douglas was pointing at. Now let's interact here. Imagine two traders. Trader A takes a loss, panics, starts questioning everything, and doubles down on the next trade to make it back. Trader B takes the same loss, journals it, moves on, and executes the next trade without hesitation. What's the difference? Trader B has internalized Douglas's secret. This one trade doesn't matter. Trader A is still trapped in illusion. This one trade must matter. Which trader are you? Be honest, because until you face it, You won't escape it. Here's where it cuts deeper. Most traders think discipline is about forcing themselves not to break rules. But true discipline comes when you no longer need to force yourself because you've accepted uncertainty so fully that the temptation disappears. That's why Douglas said the consistent winner is not afraid. It's not because they're superhuman. It's because they've made peace with randomness. They've buried the illusion that they can know what happens next. They've shifted from outcome dependence to process dependence. Let me break it down in practice. You see your setup, you know your rules, you take the trade. Now, instead of thinking this trade must work, you say, this trade is one of many that expresses my edge. If it wins, it's just part of the series. If it loses, it's just part of the series. That mindset shift kills fear, kills greed, and kills hesitation. That's the zone. The zone is not mystical. It's mathematical acceptance turned into psychological freedom. And here's where it gets powerful. Once you stop attaching your identity to single trades, your nervous system calms. You stop spiking adrenaline on every click. You stop sweating bullets over stop losses. You stop obsessing over P&L mid-trade. Why? Because your identity is no longer at stake. It's not about proving yourself. It's about executing structure. That's when consistency emerges. Not because you forced it, but because you designed it. So what's the secret lesson traders miss in trading in the zone? It's this. Your problem is not emotion. It's attachment to certainty. Once you kill the illusion of certainty and embrace probabilities, emotions lose their power. You no longer need to suppress fear. You remove the reason fear exists. You no longer need to control greed. You remove the illusion that creates greed. And then, for the first time, you can actually trade in the zone. Now, here's your challenge. For the next 20 trades, I want you to stop evaluating yourself based on individual outcomes. Instead, evaluate yourself based on whether you executed your edge with consistency. Did you follow your plan? Did you size your risk correctly? Did you journal the trade? That's your scoreboard, not wins or losses. Because if your edge is real, the probabilities will play out. And if your edge is fake, no amount of emotional control will save you. This is where most traders fail. They try to copy Douglas's words, but ignore his foundation. They still chase certainty. They still cling to predictions. They still live and die by single outcomes. Don't make that mistake. Become the trader who embraces uncertainty, who trusts structure, who stops reacting to randomness, and who finally trades in the zone. Not as a feeling, but as a design. So let me ask you, what's been holding you hostage? Is it fear of losing? Is it greed for the next win? Or is it hesitation because you secretly want certainty? Comment below, because naming it is the first step to killing it. And if you're serious about building a trading identity that thrives in uncertainty, subscribe now, because here at Trading Rebels, we're not about hype. We're about systems. We're not about illusions. We're about structure. We're not about randomness controlling us. We're about mastering randomness through design. Remember this, the market owes you nothing. Certainty is a myth. Consistency is a design. And the zone is not where you feel good. It's where you stop needing to feel anything at all. That's the lesson most traders missed in trading in the zone. But now, you know. Welcome to Trading Rebels, where your rebellion against inconsistency begins.